Hey guys, we have TL versus TSM from last weekend. It was one of the most important matchups of last weekend. While in a sense it didn't mean anything because TL already had number 1 secured and TSM already had number 3 secured. It was very meaningful because it's kind of a teaser for playoffs, and TL's on a slump and TSM's on a rise, so both teams kind of want to win to make sure they look hot going into playoff. All the recent wins that TSM had would be meaningless if they lost the final game to TL, and vice versa for TL. All their losses would somewhat get negated if they won versus TSM. But unfortunately for TL, they got spanked this game, so let's watch and figure out what happened. So Rise Van, we're actually seeing this a lot from blue side versus red side teams, where because they don't want to first pick the Rise, and Rise is actually a really dangerous split pusher, and especially for TL, a team that's not very suited to punish Rise early pick that can go in the side lane. I think this ban makes a lot of sense. TSM banning Jace, pretty weird in my opinion. I think it's more than fine to give Impact Jace. He hasn't looked great on it, and they could play a lot of things into it. Sylas ban, very normal. As purple side, Sylas ban's almost a guarantee. You just ban Sylas. Lissandra ban is weird from TL because I think Liss first pick is one of the strongest things that a blue side can do. So I really don't like the Lissandra ban here. And Cannon ban, that's the other carry that Impact can play. So they actually targeted 2 bans towards Impact. Pretty strange. Let's see what he first picks. Kench first pick. I don't very much enjoy Kench first pick when stuff like Braum is up. So I thought this was kind of trollish. Broken Blade hovering Yorick and then going to Jax, that BM. Look at him laugh. He's like, the Yorick Jax. He's like, do you remember when you picked Yorick versus me? Also, I don't think it's at double speed, so let's put it at double speed. Yep, Braum into Tahm Kench, very normal. The Braum first pick is just really weird from me, because they left themselves open to Braum Lucian, or the Kench first pick, and they just took Braum Lucian. I think Lissandra first pick is much more meaningful. Oh, Lissandra ban. I'm very curious why TL wasn't okay with Lissandra first pick. Because so many teams first pick Lissandra right now, and it's a core part of drafting first picking Lissandra because their counters don't really counter as hard anymore. Because the counters into Lissandra are stuff like Cassio, Syndra, or even Vel'Koz, and you're very vulnerable versus AD junglers. Ooh, early Akali can go either lane. Let's see how TSM, yeah, how they ban to protect Akali is going to be really important. So now this is their 3rd ban towards Impact. 1, 2, 3. They might ban one more thing versus Impact. They're actually protecting... TSM is actually protecting their side laner so much with these bans. And then LeBlanc. They're definitely going to pick jungle here. TSM picks jungle here, and then they'll take either mid or a top lane pick here. Akali can go either mid or top. She's perfectly fine in both. Sylas is not a ban towards Impact. Sylas is just a ban. It's just a ban you must do on purple side. It's a purple side tax. Think of Sylas as a tax, yeah. That's just what it is. It's a purple side tax. Kindred for their jungle pick. Rek'Sai gone, Jarvan gone, so you see a lot of teams picking Kindred in this case. Ooh, Vladimir. So TL's they're a team fight comp. Even with Vladimir is a team fighter. He's just a team fighter who can side lane. And then now, most likely, Akali's going to go top lane because she can actually play versus Vladimir. Vladimir has a pretty weak early laning phase, and Akali can take advantage of that, and then finishing off with Zilean. So I think one reason why TL might have been afraid of picking Lissandra first pick is because of Bjergsen's Zilean, so that's why maybe they banned Lissandra. But I don't like how... this is what they get out of it. Like, TL just gets a team fight comp. So TL's composition and what they do well is 1-4 split push with team fight, but majorly it's about team fighting. And TSM's comp is about side lane play. Even with TL having Kench, TSM has so much side lane potential due to Zillion, due to having Akali. They can team fight, but I think a lot of things are going to come down to small skirmishes from TSM. Ban Zillion then? Yeah, I actually think banning Zillion and first picking Lissandra would have been better. Yep, you can see teleport on Zillion, teleport on Akali, and Akali, while she's a okay to good team fighter, Akali does not want to team fight versus Tom Kench. Akali doesn't want to team fight versus Orianna. Akali would much rather split push, and Akali can get ahead of the Vladimir. Wouldn't Zoe pick for TL be better? I actually wouldn't mind the Zoe pick at all. Yeah, actually Zoe pick's completely fine. It's just TL wants to be more team fighting. They like heavy back lines. Like Orianna is the ultimate team fighter champion, and I think it's a very apt champion for what TL wants to do, which is team fighting. So they're drafting 4-1 split push team fight comps. TL's #1 win condition is team fight. That's their #1. Their #2 is 4-1 split. What about for TSM? What's their win condition? I would actually say it's 1-3. They can 1-3-1 with Jillian in the side lane. Their #1 win condition. Is it still team fighting though? Is it still team fighting? With Jillian, Kindred, Braum. Yeah, it probably still is team fighting. Their #1 win condition is also team fight. Their #2 win condition would be 1-3-1 split. So these are what both teams are looking to do. So the nerf to Akali, where it really hurt her is it destroyed her laning phase. So Akali is not a champion you can play unless you're really confident about the laning phase and also you're using it as a counter pick. So one thing that TSM did that made this Akali pick possible was they took Akali on the 3rd pick, and on the 3rd pick you can protect it with 2 bans, and TSM protected it by banning out GP, and they also protected the Akali pick by waiting to draft their mid laner until 5th pick so they could always put the Akali in either lane, whichever lane is easier. Acadian meeting Xmithy earlier on, getting chunked out. I would have liked it if Acadian or Xmithy didn't flash after Acadian and just got the initial chunk. So one comment that I made was that Broken Blade is worse than Viper. I think at the point where I said that comment, I was 100% true. Broken Blade was receiving so much help, and even in this game you can see in terms of the counter picks how much help he does receive, and he wasn't giving back enough to TSM, but he's been improving like steadily, and especially in the last 2 weeks there were rapid improvements. So I would actually start ranking Broken Blade above Viper now, and I don't want people to go crazy with it, but TSM overall in the last 2 weeks have looked so much better than they have in the first part of the split. Acadian, so much improvement, not just a Sejuani bot anymore that camps top, actually able to play to either mid or bottom or top lane, a lot more flexibility, showing prowess on a lot more different champions outside of just Seju. Broken Blade, a little bit more responsible with his lead, still very much a carry player, very risk heavy player, but showing a lot more reward than he did before and a lot more consistency. And then if you go over to TL side, they've actually been suffering a lot ever since Urgot and Sion got nerfed, and Impact has to play carry champions to be effective. I mean, they played Urgot yesterday, and it was miserably bad. When they were in a situation where they were playing fucking nerfed Urgot to Echo Fox and actually dropped the game. So yeah, the meta shift to carries has helped TSM a lot, while it's actually damaged TL a lot. And one other thing that was a bit disappointing from TL was not really utilizing Jensen as a carry or a split pusher. he's been on like blind picking stuff like Orianna and teamfight duty so much. And yeah, TSM able to fucking get that dive. Oh, it's just so brutal. Like once you start losing to Akali, she's exactly like old Akali. Splitting the map towards top, going for the dive, impact pulls, Acadian able to ult. Even if impact flashes in there and gets the healing, I don't think he lives. One thing that also hurt TL a lot is Xmithy is no longer just a clear-cut number one jungler. And I actually think there's an argument to be made for number one jungler, and it actually goes to Svenskeren even more so than Xmithy. So early part of the split, Xmithy just had everyone's number. He was the best jungler by far, out-jungled everyone, put on more pressure than everyone. Really good stopwatch there. Oh, still ends up dying. Able to get a return kill, and nothing beyond that. Yeah, but going back a little, Xmithy just had everyone's number. He was the best jungler by far, provided more pressure and more presence on the map than anyone else. And that's no longer the case, where I still think Xmithy is a good jungler. I wouldn't even say he's the best jungler in the league anymore. I think it goes over to Svenskeren, and there's times where he actually loses out in pathing or loses out early game. So great engage from TSM onto Core JJ, forcing him to burn stopwatch and flash. Smoothie tank the hit there. If anyone but Smoothie tank, they actually would have lived. I'm pretty sure Smoothie still dies in the collapse, but still it would have been nice. And now here's the real big difference. 80 CS to 115. That's 35 CS difference. About to be 40 CS difference from top lane from the dive. Oh my god. And they also got 3 plating. The goal difference between Impact and Broken Blade right now is so huge. And TSM being able to get Akali into this state and not having to deal with her weak early game, because she got to lane against another weak early game champion, Vladimir, and got to dive the Vladimir, and she just got to hex take Gunblade. Like, this is as good as the unnerfed Akali. Like, this Akali is going to be fucking taking over the game. One thing that's really bad for TSM is, while I talked about, or not TSM, for TL, while I talked about their team fighting being good, their team fighting suffers a lot from flanks. And Akali's a flank champion that they're going to struggle with a lot, in combination of Kindred being able to help, in combination of Zillion being able to res. Something still that's going well for TL is how much they're able to get from bot side though, the double dragon. Oh man, this one's actually really bad. So I talk about this so much, the dangers of hitting turret. Whenever you hit turret, you're putting yourself in a position where the reward is very small to the risk being very large. Like, look how far up they are. Like, they're so incredibly far up, and Core JJ is right here. I feel like Core JJ should be somewhere like here if Doublelift is going to hit turret, so Core JJ can eat Doublelift and exit. But Doublelift hitting turret with Xmithy and base, Bjergsen TP's behind them. I mean, Bjergsen gets a really nice prediction bomb. Here, look at Bjergsen's prediction bomb. The prediction bomb is nice here, but the thing that's really fucking important is how TL played this and why the hell TL was so confident hitting turret. Like, hitting turret gives you nearly nothing. Like, plating's gone too. Why the fuck are you hitting turret there? That's just the part I really don't understand from TL. So if I give reasoning to it, it's not like players are stupid, right? These are professional players. Doublelift probably feels a lot of pressure to take the turret bot side and get them out of laning due to what's happening on top side. Vlad just getting demolished by Akali. And if laning goes on any longer, it's going to be really fucking bad. Now, one thing I would really like to see TSM do is the lead that Broken Blade has. I want Broken Blade to shove in Vladimir and roam around the map and provide pressure. It's really important that Broken Blade utilizes much of his lead as possible. You can see he has his Gunblade, you can see he got his Oblivion Orb, so he has magic penetration and the really strong active item. I want to see him get out of lane, not just stay in lane with impact, but start affecting rest of the map. because staying in lane all day long isn't what you want to be doing as a solo laner that's ahead. As a solo laner that's ahead, you want to be pressuring the rest of the map. Yeah, stuff like this, taking wolves, this is great, and then hopefully being able to pressure Jensen on top of this. You see now Jensen got pulled away, and TSM with the Rift Herald they took earlier is able to pressure this. Jensen never really got to clear out the wave, and you can see how much pressure Broken Blade is providing by pushing up, taking wolves, and threatening mid lane. This forces Team Liquid to deal with Broken Blade just beyond Impact losing CS. This forces Team Liquid to move from bot lane to mid lane. This forces Xmithy to be mid lane, and Broken Blade is pushing his leads onto other people. Why Broken Blade isn't moving mid right now is because Xmithy's on his jungle. Both Lucian and Braum, or not Xmithy, Acadian's on his jungle. Both Lucian and Braum recall, so it's a timing where TSM's all resetting. Do you guys see this? I want to commend TSM for something. This is called synchronized backs. Really, really important, so pay attention. Braum and Lucian just backed. Zillion backed. Akali backed. Kindred backed. This is called synchronized recalls. And why synchronizing recalls is so important is whenever someone needs to recall, the map becomes 4v5 or 3v5 depending on how many people recalled. And the whole team wants to recall at the same time after they push out the wave and when there is no objectives on the map, so they can be strong together and so they can be on the map together pressuring at the same time. If you get onto the map and one of your teammate has to recall, then you have to play safe, and another person has to recall after that, then you have to play safe. So it's so incredibly important to synchronize backs, and TSM's doing it perfectly here, where everyone's backing at the same time, so they're on the map together and strong together. Damn. Very nice from TSM. This is a well-coached team. This is a good macro team. This is what I want to see from LCS teams. And when I was criticizing TSM earlier in the split, they had none of this. Their macro wasn't clean. They looked very shaky, but now they're finally showing improvement. And TL responding with a lane swap. By lane swapping, they're taking Vladimir out of a weak lane and they can get the top turret. TSM wants the lanes to be matched again. They don't want Broken Blade versus Double Lift and Core JJ. Oof. Vladimir recalled. Oh, able to kill Broken Blade. Oh, Jensen able to kill Bjergsen on top of that. Okay, so why that delay swap is so important is this. So think of it as this. So let's give numbers to people. Let's give Broken Blade is worth 10 points. Broken Blade is worth 10 points. Let's say Impact is worth, let's say 7 points. And Double is worth, let's say, as an AD, let's say he's worth 8. Core JJ is worth, he's doing fine. Let's say he's worth also like, let's say he's worth 6. And then Zeben, probably even with Double Lift, so around 8. Smoothie also even with Core JJ. Oh shit, I did Core JJ again. Fuck. Okay, Smoothie. Smoothie is worth 6. So right now what's happening is Broken Blade is greater than Impact and bot lane is even. Or actually let's make them higher. Let's say Double Lift is worth 9 points. And Double and Core JJ are stronger than Zeben and Smoothie, where it's almost nearly even. But by flipping the matchups where you have Impact, he's gonna lose to Zeben and Smoothie. So Impact was already losing, but now he's still losing. But by flipping the matchup, what happens is now Broken Blade is losing to 2 people, Double and Core. So now both top laners are losing and both top laners have to play defensive. That's why TL swapping was so good for them, and that's why TSM wanted to get back to regular lanes fast as possible. But instead of getting back to regular lanes, they took the fight topside. And when you take the fight topside, Impact is able to teleport. So now with all that information, let's go back a little and let's watch this play again. So TL lane swapping is good because it gets impact out of a bad situation, and also impact can teleport behind. That's why that lane swap was really good there. So now it gets impact out of the bad situation, as we talked about, and TL is able to take top turret. Broken Blade does not like this. Broken Blade is angry. He wants to be bullying impact, and he can't bully Doublelift and Core JJ. So Broken Blade is angry about this. He doesn't like this lane situation. I was winning the game. Why do I have to do this? So Bjergsen and Broken Blade instead are going to try to engage on top side with Smoothie. So they go on top side, Doublelift's able to live, and now the thing that we talked about happens. Impact's able to teleport, and then Jensen collapses from mid lane, kills Bjergsen. This happened because TSM took the fight on the weak side of the map, and TL actually lane swapped. So it just makes, it probably looks like, oh, why the fuck did TL suddenly start winning? TL suddenly started winning because of this. TSM bot is stronger at the moment. Even if TSM's bot is stronger at the moment, then it's even better to swap, because then now you have at least one winning lane, which is Doublelift, Core JJ versus Broken Blade. If TSM bot is even stronger than TL bottom, there was even more of a reason to swap there. That swap play is so important. Now what we're going to see is TSM is a good team, so we're going to see this. TSM's going to push up mid, they're going to push up top, and they're going to do one of two things. One, dive bot. If they choose this option, they're going to send one person behind and dive the Vladimir. Or two, set up Baron. If they choose this option, then Broken Blade is going to rotate and set up and flank for Baron. So they can do one of two. Let's see which one they do, which one they end up going with. They're going to, first thing they need to do is push up mid and top and get Baron Vision. They already have Baron Vision, now they're going to push up mid and top. And then they're either going to decide between diving bottom or actually taking Baron and setting it up all the way. See, going to Baron side, they're gonna have to regain control. Remember what we talked about, resetting together? TSM did that also just now. I'm sorry if some people missed it, but look at this. Braum, Lucian, Zillion, and then Kindred is gonna recall after this. It's the concept that we talked about earlier. Synchronize recall and sync your recalls, because it makes your whole team stronger at the same time. So Acadian didn't sync his recall, so his recall is actually gonna be delayed. Now Acadian probably can't even recall, yeah. So Acadian ends up staying on the map and he doesn't recall because he knows if I recall now, my team already recalled, I missed my timing to recall. Oh, this is setting up Baron. So they ended up going with the flank play instead of going bottom. So let's see what it's starting with. It's starting with them going on Core JJ, or not Core JJ, them going on Double. Double gets eaten, but he doesn't have flash or heal. It's going to be really bad. And the other thing that's really bad is Acadian's on top of Jensen right now, so Jensen is split off from the team. It's going to be really fucking bad for Bjerg here. Or not Bjerg, Double here. Double's probably just going to die. Yeah, Double died. Really great flank from Broken Blade. Core JJ dead afterwards. Now they can do Baron. But do you guys see how there's like strong and weak parts of the game, and TSM is navigating those parts of the game very, very well. When they're strong on the map after their recall, they're very aggressive and they're setting up plays. And when they need to recall, everyone recalls, and Broken Blade isn't pressuring by himself while the rest of the team is recalling. TSM is a synchronized team. TSM is a team that understands macro, and I'm so glad to see them finally improve on all these aspects. I actually had a lot of doubts about TSM, and I even said that TSM fans shouldn't be hopeful for TSM spring playoff chances, but the improvement they have shown is so immense. I know TSM had leads in both Cloud9 games. Do you think they have what it takes to win against Cloud9? They're macro improved, so that's super fucking core and important to them. And then now TSM running 3-1-1, they're split pushing all 3 lanes. Really good. So why split pushing is so important whenever you have Baron is, I mean, it seems very simple in theory, but it's also hard to execute. By split pushing across all 3 lanes, you're Baron buffing all 3 lanes. That's why split pushing is so important. But when you split push, you have more chances of getting caught out because there are 3 places you can get caught out from. So it's very important to be synchronized and all 3 sides to know they can't get caught out. So you can see how everyone's playing safe and they're just trying to chunk turret bit by bit. This is the best usage of Baron. You can see mid turret chunk, top turret chunk. TSM's doing a good job of chunking every turret bit by bit, and no one is playing overly aggressive and getting caught out, but they're maximizing Baron usage. Yep, they slowly got top inhib turret and now everyone rotates top and they're gonna get it. Broken Blade goes back to mid, health with mid turret. This is how you use Baron. This is good macro. Now TL can't just wait anymore, so Impact kind of engages mid lane, can't do anything off of that. And then TSM, everyone resetting together. Or everyone playing defensive together and then resetting eventually. So Lucian Braum reset, Akali reset, Zillion reset, and then we're going to see the Kindred reset after. Synchronized recalls. TSM throughout the whole game have synchronized recall. Whenever you watch your favorite team, watch if they do this. Whether they do this or not will tell you if that team is well coached, if that team understands macro, if that team is a well-oiled machine. The bad thing about TL's comp is once they fall behind, it's really hard to be proactive. The only way they can be proactive is forcing an engage with Jarvan. But if you're forcing an engage into a Zillion or a Kindred, the Zillion and Kindred are very, very happy. If you're forcing an engage where you're on the weaker side into a Zillion Kindred and a Braum, they're just very, very happy. And TL can't even walk up to Baron, getting chunked. Just has no shot. This is what I mean by good teams don't give you a chance to come back when they get ahead. And also TL drafted a comp that makes it extremely hard to play from behind. Now TSM split pushing 2 lanes with Baron. Look how TSM isn't taking a fight. They're not taking a fight, they're just letting the Baron minions do work. Because why? Because once you have Baron, inhibitors are guaranteed. If you take a fight, it gives TL a way back into the game. By them not opting to fight, they're giving TL 0% chance at getting back into the game. If TSM felt like we're stronger, we're just going to take a team fight, TL could have came back into the game. But the way TSM played it made it impossible for TL to come back. Man, this was well played from TSM. Wow, I had so much doubts about how much this roster could grow. And until 2 weeks ago, I just didn't think they had made enough growth for them to make a splash in playoff. But with TL slumping and TSM making this kind of growth, I'm so excited for TSM versus C9. Dude, the fucking tragedy would be if TSM played C9 and barely lost to C9 and then C9 loses to TL. That would be fucking tragedy. I feel like that's what's going to happen though. As good as TSM is, I also think C9 is very good. And if TSM loses to C9 and then TL wins it all, holy shit. So one thing that I've been doing is checking the analyst desk for what they say afterwards to see if I agree or disagree with their take on the game. So let's go see. Honestly, I find Bjergsen interviews kind of boring because Bjergsen's so polite and he never trash talks. So I'm just gonna skip over the interview. Let's play it at 1.5. Bjergsen's just so polite and humble. He never trash talks.
They get the better of them again here in the rematch to move to 2-0 in the head-to-head, while TL does retain that first place bye. They've got to be a little concerned with their performance here and how strong TSM looks now heading into the postseason.
Yeah, that's a scratch in the Team Liquid first place regular season trophy. And the TSM early game plan with a really strong draft that picks up later into the game has just been so good from them. Mentioning that this is not something new, the Zillion and the Kindred, and Zillion with teleport,
Double
you
F
always
sitting
have to keep
turret
this
there
in
was
mind,
so
which is just
fucking
another
bad.
layer that allows these kinds of compositions to make it through the early and mid.
I mean, they were just grooving all over the map. It was these TP plays down to the bot lane. It was Broken Blade winning as 1v1 on the top side. It was this great draft where you have, I actually think, a very good counter to Orion of Vlad, where even though that's a lot of AoE damage, you can counter that out by making sure to save one target, or you can save your entire team. And by the time that their comp that comes online with this team,
Why the
AoE, you're
fuck were
already
they
far
fighting
behind.
here?
They made 1 or 2 plays
This
on
was
Team
so
Liquid's side
chill.
around 20 minutes to grab a couple kills, but they were never able to get any real objectives off of it.
Right, and we were talking earlier about what does Team Liquid really want to do from here? Say, for example, if they don't have a good split from during playoffs, right? How can they improve from here? They almost have the best players in each role. So at this point, what can they do to get better? Is it their draft? Do they want a different coach? Or do they have to replace a player on their team? And as you saw here, there's such a big discrepancy between the two top laners that is that the first place that you go to look for something new?
Yeah, which is curious because, you know, throughout the
It's a draft problem. You fucking drafted Vladimir for Impact, something that he's not comfortable on, and then they picked a Kali and smashed you with it. I think TL has to think a little bit more about how they're doing draft, so good take from High.
this entire spring split, we've been talking about the weak point for TSM being that top side. Both Broken Blade and Acadian at times struggling in the 2v2. That was not the
Impact
case here,
Vlad
as
was
Broken
not
Blade was
pretty.
entirely capable of managing the top lane against Impact.
I mean, I think the thing that Team Liquid needs to work on is that their draft and their playstyle is not explosive, and it doesn't offer a lot of surprises. Like, yeah, they picked Yorick and they tried a few things, but it's typically your tanks, your Cannon maybe, your Vladimirs. These aren't random picks that have a lot of creativity behind them, whereas you have Zillions, Akalis, Kindreds, and so if you're playing that style, it's very easy to always know what to expect out of Team Liquid since they're never going to throw a curveball at you. And that's really the only thing that I want to see from them right now.
I think TSM has also just improved dramatically in almost every area of the game. You talk about
This is 100% true. So a lot of people gave me shit for talking badly about TSM, but TSM wasn't this good 2 weeks ago. TSM as a team just improved so much, and I think fans just get really pissed whenever you call their team bad because that's what you see. TSM was not good, and I did not talk well of them because they weren't good, and now they are good, so they deserve praise, but fans just want praise all the time.
before Acadian and Broken Blade were dropping a lot of 2v2s, even though they spent a lot of time up there. They spent a fair amount of time up there again, but they actually dove the Vladimir correctly and got the kills, and then Broken Blade was able to snowball with that lead. And then the mid to late game shot calling is so much better than when they were losing these 50-50 Barons before.
I think that's an important conversation to have around the entirety of the league, which is that, you know, how much of this is a product of TL maybe in a slump or getting worse versus the rest of our league kind of elevating finally, finding their footing. When
Echo Fox improved, TSM improved, every other team stayed the same, and TL slumped. So I don't think it's much of everyone else improving, because the only teams that truly improved were TSM and Echo Fox. And Golden Guardian. TSM, Echo Fox, Golden Guardians are the three teams that improved. C9 was pretty much good throughout the whole way. And TL slumped a little.
take a look at teams like Echo Fox and TSM who have impressed recently.
It's chicken or the egg. They both happen at the same time.
That's also a
I
possibility.
think largely is that the other teams are getting better. Like you see the TSM squad, they're playing well. It's not like they're just like Team Liquid's playing bad. No, they're getting punished, and TSM is playing well. Same with Echo Fox. So yes, the other teams have gotten better. I don't necessarily think that Team Liquid has gotten that much worse. Obviously, they're not performing as well, but at the end of the day, the other teams are just getting so much better.
I think that's absolutely the case, where both in the Echo Fox game and in this one, we hit this kind of mid game where TL is down 2 to 3K gold, and you're like, season one or split one, or geez, week 1 through week 3, TL comes back and wins those games just by being the better mid game team. But now at the end of the split, teams when they get those leads actually convert them into victories versus TL.
So that's going
God,
forward.
Mark's
To the top,
actually the
start
best
innovating
analyst
because
on the
everyone else
desk.
is topping you behind, and by the time they figure you out, you need to come and hit them with something new. So TL needs to come up with something new as the team that was on top.
I think Mark is the best analyst on the desk. I think Crumbs and High are pretty equal, but Crumbs is so much better about his delivery and way more interesting. Mark's is the strongest analyst, and I like Crumbs and then High.
Good news for TL is they are the 1 seed. So as was mentioned by Flowers in the cast, being the 1 seed, they get their choice in opponent moving into the semifinals. So I do believe that they will avoid TSM at all costs if that's the team that makes it through their quarters. Up next, we've got Game 5, 100 Thieves versus Optic Gaming. When we return, though, the analysts do a rapid-fire playoff prediction, and you won't want to miss it.